Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video, doing USA forecast for today's first video. So as was on Wednesday, we're having a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days across the United States. We'll extend out beyond that with the extended CFSV2 running to 4 weeks. And I shall get on with that for you very shortly. Just say about the second video release today is going to be the February forecast. So we're going to do a forecast for the UK and Northern Europe for February. And yeah, that's going to be released later on this afternoon. We're going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock tonight, 6 p.m. We'll have our live stream. Going to be very, very interesting live stream. The models are firming up on easterly winds and very cold weather starting over weekend. So it's going to be like a snow watch as well as a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days. It's going to be great, and that's going to be coming up live from 6 o'clock. I think it'll be a big stream tonight. So looking forward to that. I shall see you there. Yes, forecasts are YouTube exclusives. They're not embedded to GWV.com. So if you want to know when we're releasing these and also the European Outlook on a Thursday, you will need to be subscribed to our channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, I'm going to start off with the upper air temperatures for Chicago. So red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Chicago. You can see, but we're starting off actually quite mild there in the next day or so. It's been very cold across the Midwest and the east of the states over the past few days. A little bit of moderation coming through for the next day or so. But then a real plunge in the temperature. Look at that, becoming extremely cold for around the weekend on into next week, with upper air temperature going down around minus 20 at 850 HPA. Some of these upper air temperature, some of the upper air temperatures on the ensemble members are going down to like minus 25 to minus 30. At 850 HPA. That's extraordinarily cold air, plunging out of Canada and down into the Midwest. So becoming bitterly cold, severely cold across Chicago and much of the Midwest, and then eventually the East over weekend and into next week. Just generally staying cold then into the middle and second half of February. Late on, there is a slight recovery in the temperature starting to take place, but even then it is a little bit colder than average. Of course, with all of this very cold weather, there's also going to be a lot of snow coming through as well, so a big precipitation spike there on no doubt a very active cold front that will bring blizzards to much of the Midwest, and then just plenty of precipitation spikes, and all of that's going to be snow, of course, with those extremely cold temperatures. So yeah, very, very cold, severely cold and snowy for many parts of the states in the coming week to 10 days or so. Temperature anomalies for America. Look at this. For the 3rd to the 11th of February, exceptionally cold around the Midwest and going up northwards into Canada. Not as cold as that in the east, but these very cold temperatures from the north Midwest will spread into the east with time. So expect these eastern seaboards and coastal areas to trend colder in the coming days. The mildest temperature anomalies are in the south and in the southwest. So here, like for Arizona, those sort of states, and down to Southern California, that's where the mildest temperatures are. But even going further northwards up the west coast, it does actually get quite cold even then. Usually when you have it very cold in the northeast and the east, it'll be warmer in the west. But actually most parts of the states, away from the southwestern corner anyway, are looking really quite cold. Even down into Texas, the temperature is a bit colder than average. So this is a very, very widespread sort of cold outbreak that's coming up in the next week. The precipitation anomaly from the 3rd to the 11th of February looks largely dry on average through many of the states, but up in the Midwest it's above average precipitation. It'll all be snow there, of course. And some of these northwestern northern states are a little bit above average with precipitation. Again, that's all going to be snow. Largely it is quite a dry scene across many parts of America, though, as you tend to get when, of course, it's very cold. Right, let's have a look at these charts then. So this is the GFS midnight run for Wednesday. Low pressure in the northeast still bring down a cold northerly wind and still more snow to these eastern coast areas. There's a ridge through the Midwest, and then it gets more unsettled the further west you go. Upper air temperatures show that the coldest temperatures at the moment are actually in the far east and northeast, with that northerly around the low pressure sitting off the east coast. So a northeaster coming down the east coast. Otherwise, I mean, it's quite cold through the Midwest, but not particularly severe at the moment. A little bit milder through the central western states when it gets cold again out to the northwest. This very deep cold plunge, or this very deep cold area over Canada, is a warning of what is to come. Look what happens as we go through the next couple of days. So a deep area of low pressure begins to develop from Canada down into these central Midwestern states, starts to spread eastwards. And behind that, we begin to pull in those very cold upper air temperatures from Canada through the central states. So by the time, that's tomorrow, by the time you get through to Friday, this deep area of low pressure, major winter storm is sweeping through the Midwest. It'll be bringing heavy snow and blizzards to the Midwest, and behind it, we open the door to extreme cold air from the north. There's the upper air temperatures showing that extreme cold pushing out of Canada into these northern parts of the states. Again, you see the low pressure running through the Midwest, taking heavy snow blizzards through the Midwest. At the same time, there is a milder push going on the east coast. That's only ahead of this deep area of low pressure. Quietest weather is out to the west, where things are relatively benign through there, reasonably mild upper air temperatures, and there could be frost and that kind of thing, but it is a lot quieter out in the west. Through to Saturday, that cold front will sweep eastwards towards eastern parts of the states, and will dig in this very, very cold air from Canada. Behind it, again, there's the upper air temperature, an extreme cold plunging out of Canada into northern parts of America, brutal cold, and that's spreading through Midwest and increasingly moving over to the east coast as well. With these northwesterly winds, there will be blizzards pushing through as well. It's going to be dangerously cold, with a temperature like 30 Fahrenheit below average. Through to Sunday, again, it looks extremely cold across the north, with these northerly winds again bring extreme cold out of Canada. Lots of heavy snow will be involved in that. Just stays cold through the north and the Midwest over towards the northeast as we go through into Monday as well. Again, the quietest weather is out in the west with this ridge of high pressure just here. Look at the extent of the cold upper air temperatures by Monday. We're going down to, I think we've got like the minus 30 to minus 35 isotherm there in the north. That is extraordinarily cold air out of Canada, but of course it does happen in America. So this is the minus 5 Celsius isotherm just here. That's the minus 10 isotherm. That's minus 15. That's minus 20 isotherm. That's minus 25 isotherm just there. So just here, I'll highlight it, shall I? Just here, that is the minus 35 isotherm, I think. Minus 30. Let's do it again. Minus 5 is just there. Minus 10 is just there. Minus 15 is just there. Minus 20 is just there, I think. So that's minus 25 isotherm. This up here will be the minus 30 Celsius isotherm. It's very cold. Anyway, it's very, very cold. If we get the minus 15 Celsius isotherm in the UK, we think we're having a real freeze up. And it's about 15 degrees centigrade, colder than that at its core here across the north of the states. So brutal cold from the northern part of America into Midwest and pushing over into the east as well, with blizzards and freezing cold weather to come. Real freeze up, absolutely extreme. Through to Tuesday, that deep trough and its associated extreme cold will push in towards the northeast. We've got this ridge building out in the west. Go towards the Pacific side. I suspect it's going to be relatively milder up there, with winds coming up from the south. That's how long as we get through to the middle of next week. We're heading up towards day 10 now. So coldest weather is gradually transferring more towards the northeast, I think. Otherwise, we're building a ridge over that extreme cold air and snow. snow. So although the upper air temperatures with this ridge will probably lift up, on the surface it will still be extremely cold and very, very frozen and snow covered as well. Actually, it looks like get another push of cold air from the north there as we move up towards day 10. So another sort of swipe of really cold air from Canada pushing into these midwestern and eastern states as well. At the same time, further westwards under this ridge of high pressure, keeping it mainly dry but also bitterly cold. Mildest weather is again out in the west. I would have thought upper air temperatures look like that. So it just looks generally very cold from most parts of the state. There is actually a cold plunge into the northwest, spreading through to those sort of central Rocky Mountain states. And then over in the east, in the Midwest, in the east, just absolutely frozen up, really absolute freezer going on there up to towards day 10. Maybe some more extended range. It looks like we gradually start to ease some milder temperatures into these more southern states. So the jet stream begins to lift a little bit further northwards, taking some slightly milder air into the south. But the north still looks like it's remaining very cold and frozen with plenty more snow still to come. This is a prolonged freeze-up type pattern that is developing here for the northern, midwestern and eastern and northeastern states. By the very end of the GFS run, it looks as though the jet stream is rising northwards, bringing some milder air perhaps into some of these midwestern and northern states, although even then the far north into the northeast looks like it's still very cold. But gradually by around 2 weeks, which is the 19th of February, we might be starting to turn things a little bit milder. I think it'd be a welcome relief if we do. But of course, it's a long way off. It's 2 weeks away. This is how the Euro's looking. ECM, again, got this northerly running down the east coast at the moment. That brings some snow with it. Otherwise, it's a relatively quieter scene today. But tomorrow is and into Friday is really when these bitterly cold northerly winds start to set in from Canada with this winter storm, bringing heavy rain on the eastern side of this, but will readily turn to snow and blizzards as this cold air from Canada, extreme cold air from Canada, cuts in. Over weekend, the freeze intensifies really through the north and the Midwest, again drawing that bitterly cold air out of Canada, extreme cold air out of Canada, bringing lots and lots of heavy snow to many of these northern, midwestern and eventually eastern states. Again, look at the upper air temperatures showing that extreme cold plunging out of Canada into the northern states and gradually pushing eastwards through the Midwest and into the east as well. Into next week, the coldest of the weather probably transferring from the Midwest in towards the east and the northeast. All areas are looking cold really though through these northern, midwestern and eastern states. Trying to draw up some slightly milder air up the eastern seaboard. I'm not sure how far north that will get. It is coming up against this really cold air, and there will be the prospect of a lot of snow, of course, along the boundary, which is going to be through here somewhere. So the southeastern states are a little bit warmer on the Euro, I think, but again, in the north and the northeast, going to be extreme cold. Along the boundary, there's going to be, I would have thought, a lot of snow through here, and absolutely brutal cold as we get up in towards the north and the Midwest. Again, the upper air temperatures will get extremely cold again through these northern, midwestern and northeastern states. The eastern seaboard is on the boundary, and of course that's where you're going to get the mix of very heavy snow. Heading up towards day 10, again, just look how extremely cold it is through the Midwest, and these extreme cold temperatures are pushing in towards the east and the Midwest, into the east and the northeast from the Midwest with time. And then we get through to day 10, and we're still looking very cold across many northern, eastern parts of America, really. This ridge is building out in the Midwest, so we will lose the extreme upper air temperature, extreme cold upper air temperatures, but we will find that on the surface it's very deeply snow covered, of course, and it will be very cold on the surface. Mildest weather again looks like it's out in the west with this ridge from the Pacific. Upper air temperatures show that the mildest upper air temperatures are indeed in the west and the northwest, coldest in the east and the northeast. Not as extremely cold as it has been in terms of the upper air temperatures, but on the surface it will be very, very snow covered. And notice how far southwards this cold air is getting, which which is quite unusual, I think. The cold, -5 Celsius isotherm, like the cold air, is getting all the way down to the Gulf Coast, all the way into the Gulf Coast with -5 Celsius isotherm. -10 Celsius isotherm is there through Texas, which does happen at times, but this is a very extreme cold plunge, and it will eventually get down into the very, very far south of America, even into like the northern states of Florida. We've got 0 Celsius isotherm, although most of central and southern Florida does look quite warm, and of course out in the west it is a lot milder through there with those upper air temperatures. Finally, CFSV2. So this is a really brutal cold spell of weather. I think we've established that, but setting up over weekend into next week. Finally, CFSV2 for the next 4 weeks. These are 500 millibar heights, broken down to week periods. The first week period will take us from the 2nd to the 8th of February. The coming week has this ridge in the east, but we've got this trough digging in from Canada, and that's the trough that's bringing that extreme cold air down from the north. We go through to week 2, which is the 9th to the 15th of February. Again, high pressure up towards Greenland and Canada, trough of low pressure digging through the Midwest, the north, and into the east as well, bringing that very cold weather with it. The ridge out in the west here should keep the Pacific coast somewhat quieter and warmer, or milder. Week 3 is going to be the 16th, 22nd of February. Again, this deep trough extending from the north into Midwest and into the east, keeping the freeze going really through many parts of northern, central, eastern, northeast America. Again, extensive blocking around Greenland. Interestingly, keeping both sides of the Atlantic cold. So cold into the north of Europe, cold into the north of America. That happens when you have a very strong block around Greenland. You can have it cold on both sides of the Atlantic. Week 4 is the 23rd of February to the 3rd of March. Again, still looking pretty cold, really. You know, the trough is extending down through many central parts of America. Always this ridge off the Pacific coast and going northwards too. Temperature anomalies are looking like this. So the northeast is still hanging on to, well, the CFS thinks the northeast is still hanging on to milder weather. I'm not sure about that. This cold air is digging in from Canada and extending eastwards with time. Let's have a look at week 2. Now, this doesn't look overly cold, really, does it? Away from the far north, anyway. I think the CFS is overdoing the temperatures big time here. I think it's probably right for, like, the west. I think it's probably right for the west and southwest down here. That's okay, but I think this area will be much, much colder than that showing. This mild average area here, I don't see that. All this area just there, really. So these blue and green colours, I think, are going to be more widespread in this area. That area just there is probably right to be warmer. Then we go through to, so again, it's a case of CFS overdoing the temperatures, really. We go through to week 3, 16th, 22nd of February. A bit more extensive with the cold then. Again, still trying to keep things mild around the east coast. Again, I'm not sure about that at all. I think this blue green area is likely to be, let's highlight it again. I think this blue green area is likely to be more in that position. Again, the west, southwest is okay to be milder than average. It does look extremely cold through like Midwest and the north though. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 2nd to the 2nd of February, 1st March. Again, looking very cold here for many of these northern and midwestern states. And I think this cold air will probably be further eastwards as well. The west, southwest is okay to be milder than milder there, I would have thought. So it's close, but I think it is overdoing the temperatures a bit for the east and the northeast. It'll be a lot colder in the east and northeast, I think. Precipitation, finally. So week 1, 2nd to 8th of February. Dry in these southern states, otherwise above average. Precipitation, of course, as it gets colder, there will be an increasing risk of very significant snow. Week 2 is going to be the 9th to 15th of February. Again, many of these southern states looking reasonably dry. Northern states, above average precipitation. That is all going to be snow with both brutal cold temperatures. Week 3 is the 16th, 22nd of February. Driest in west and southwest, wettest in the east and northeast. Again, I would expect a lot of snow to be in with that. And then week 4 is going to be the 23rd of February, 1st of March. Losing the signal a little bit, but still looking driest out in the west, and wettest sort of through these midwestern and eastern states, I think, through there. It's a very cold outlook to come. It's going to get extremely cold through much of the north, the Midwest, and those extreme cold temperatures will eventually extend into the east and the northeast as well. So the coldest phase of winter of 2021 is about to begin for many parts of America. Wrap up well. And if you're watching this in the northern part of the States, take care. It's going to be extremely cold, dangerously cold, and very, very snowy. Right, that's it for USA forecast this week. Do it all over again next week. We're going to be back later on with the February forecast for the UK. So come back to that later. And then we're live streaming from 6 o'clock. We've got our own very cold weather coming up in the UK and across much of Northern Europe in the coming days. Nowhere near as severe as this, of course. But, you know, in our own terms, it's going to be pretty cold. There's going to be quite a bit of snow around as well. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting live stream, and I shall see you for that from 6 o'clock. For the USA forecast for this week, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.